Hello, everyone. This is Bookie for Good Eve, coming to speak again to discuss the issue of the emotional impact of a massive financial loss. Now, I want to differentiate what I want to discuss today from the typical financial stress that we experience in our everyday lives. No matter as the older we get, how I wish being a child. Honestly, they didn't tell us it would be like this when we got older. But you have a salary or you have an income and then you have expenses. And there's so many things competing for your money. And sometimes the tension of balancing the timing of the expenses with the timing of your income or your inflow. And if you're an employee working for a business that sometimes pays late, sometimes doesn't pay at all, there's always that underlying pressure and financial stress. And that has implications, but that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about when there's an extreme financial shock, how it impacts you, because it is different. And it's important that for people going through these type of financial shocks, that you understand some of the symptoms and signs and things that you may go through. One, to know that you're not alone. Two, to know that it's not unusual. And so if you're feeling this way, please know that there's help, that it will pass. But when you're passing through it, it will seem like it is never ending and it will not end. So what are a few of the things? So first, let me give an example, a few examples of financial shocks. For instance, you take 50% of your savings and you've been investing it in different stocks and shares. And then you decide to take another 50% because of diversification. And you say, you know what, land can't run away, it can't disappear. And you invest in a property with a well-known, I won't say well-respected, but a well-known, a popular, you see the adverts everywhere, property developer. Your friends have told you about, your colleagues have told you about. And so you feel my portfolio is balanced. And you go to sleep and you're happy. And then you wake up one morning and discover that the property developer does not own the land in which they have built your house and the houses of maybe 200 or 300 other people. In fact, a court judgment has just come out substantiating that they built there fraudulently. And therefore, any type of ownership passed through them is null and void. And then you get to discover that the party that has won is not interested in transacting with you or your fellow 300 residents. All they want you to do is to forget about that investment, because remember, the property is not yet fully built, and move on. 50% of your life savings in a flash, gone. That is an example of a financial shock. You've worked maybe for 20 years. You're 10 years away from retirement. Where do you start from? Those are the thoughts that go through your mind. Now, some of the things you can expect to happen to you is sadness. A deep, down to your gut, down to your soul, at the bottom of your stomach, sadness. You can also expect to have insomnia. That night, don't expect to sleep. In fact, you may not sleep for 2 weeks. Some people are known to not be able to sleep for months after such an incident happens. Your mind will be ruminating, and rumination is another thing that's to be expected. You'll be replaying it over in your mind. You'll be wondering, at what moment should you have known that I shouldn't have taken this step? Was there a sign from God? Was there something in the documentation that I didn't see? Did someone give me a word of caution I didn't listen? You'll keep replaying and replaying and replaying, and that also contributes to your insomnia. They go hand in hand. Loss of appetite. At that point, everything tastes like cardboard. no matter what food, no matter what drink they give you, it's not unusual that you will lose interest in the things that used to give you joy. For some people, that is when they lean on certain vices, like food, overconsumption of it. They start to drink too much. They start to lean on prescription medication. Ambient is good, but if you're using it every day in increasing doses and you become dependent on it, it's not good. And that happens when you're like, I just need a break. I keep thinking about it. I keep beating myself up mentally. And that is also part of it. It's not unusual for you to bully yourself. You blame yourself. You sit down. You insult yourself. You say, well, I must be foolish. I'm stupid. What made me think? How dare I think that I could even take such a bold step? After all, they've said in my family, people don't own homes. So it's my fault. I should never have done so. You begin to think in negative ways, in impossible ways. And all those things make sense to you at that time. It is normal. These things that I've said, it happens. You become depressed. Depressed is not just sadness. Depression is a weight, like a heavy cloud. You wake up in the morning and nothing is bright. Everything is a shade of gray. You can't focus. Everything seems pointless. Why should I focus on my career? I know the amount of sleepless nights, the amount of stress I put in, the amount of hard work, the amount of heartbreak. I remember how I pushed my team, drove them so that I could make that bonus, and that was part of what I gave to the hands of. I don't even know if they're charlatans. I don't even know if they're good people that were defrauded as well. I don't know if they were stupid. I don't even know what it is. But the money has just evaporated. And I don't know where to grasp it to get it back. Depression is this sense of, what's the point? Why should I try? Why should I even get out of bed? Let me just lie here. And somehow I don't even know, something will happen or something will happen. I don't even frankly care. That feeling. You begin to have relationship difficulties. Your darling child that was the sun, the moon, everything wrapped up together. You don't respond. They talk to you, you don't hear what they're saying. You've checked out. Or you become very, very angry. Explosively angry. They greet you good morning. What is good about morning? Why? You don't. Your temper is beyond short. Anyone around you, your spouse, it's like you are a different person. Sometimes you're happy. Sometimes the next thing you're just shedding tears uncontrollably. At a point, you may even become catatonic. You are zoned out. You don't know where you are. What is happening? Time. You start to lose time. Then the shame, which is the worst. That shame. You begin to look at people and wonder, what do they think of me? They must all know I'm a fool. They must think I'm useless, I'm stupid. Maybe that auntie that asked you for money will hear about it and she will think, good for her, good for him. Maybe when I asked him, he did not give me. It's karma. You begin to like, what's the point of going out, going to sit with people that you don't even know who is rooting for you, who is not rooting for you? You begin to feel as if what has happened, especially if it's a public shock, is written on your forehead. And you don't know who is rooting for you or who is happy for you. And so at a point, when the confusion becomes too much, you withdraw socially. People call you, you don't answer. People send you messages, you don't bother. The social activities you used to enjoy before, you don't want to go. If you used to go play golf with the boys and buy them a round of drinks, now you're worried. can I really spend money like that? But then you're ashamed. But they're going to expect me to buy the round of drinks. And then for some who've gone out and your friends begin to pity you. Hey, yeah. You know that hollow pity, not the sincere one where they say, don't worry, you overcome it. The one where, oh, hey, yeah. You said, why did you put your... Which company was that? Estates. Johnson Estates. But everybody knows that Johnson is a thief now. You didn't know? You should have known. It's only people that have money to waste that put their money there. They begin to mock you. And even when they don't, you fear that they will. So you just don't even bother. You withdraw socially. If it progresses and you're a borderline hypertensive, you're a borderline diabetic, you have a borderline health condition. You know, health starts in the mind. It begins to affect you. And so it's during this period that people are most vulnerable, especially if you're a borderline, have some borderline health conditions, to have a heart attack, to become a full-blown diabetic, to if you're a diabetic, to get an infection that could lead to an amputation because you begin to neglect yourself. Having a bath in the morning becomes difficult. Taking a shower, brushing your teeth, even combing your hair, grooming yourself. It's like, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not leaving the house today. Who's going to see me? The total collapse of your soul. Because it's not just about money. See, many people will say, but it's money now. Money comes, money goes. No. It's also about what that money represents to you. The years of sacrifice, the years of building a career, the years of gaining experience, the friendships, the losses. So many sacrifices you've made. And what did that money promise you? A comfortable retirement? Being able to be a father to your children or a mother to your children? Being able to give your daughter that wedding you have always dreamed of and she has always dreamed of. Being able to send your children to good, safe schools. There's so many things. Money means that if you get ill, and most of us will require extensive medical care in our old age, that you know that you have the means to be able to be taken care of. That you will not be the person that people will go around and be begging and doing, donations for treatment. Money means dignity for the rest of your life. It's not just that you want to have money and be a big boy and ball and drive the most beautiful cars, though we like those too. But there are a lot of things this loss means to you. It means it puts all those dreams you've had for yourself, for your family, even for your grandchildren, it puts them in jeopardy potentially. Sometimes it's also about the fact that you've been so confident about your ability to pick investments, to invest in businesses, to conduct your business, that your confidence becomes shaken. You begin to doubt your ability, doubt yourself, not realizing that there's nobody it doesn't happen to. One of the, I feel, most successful investors in the world, and I say that because of the longevity, and he's had a generally positive record for most of his life. And since he's about 87, I believe at this time, I think we can say he's been successful, is Warren Buffett. And I remember reading an article, I think this year or last year, about how he was defrauded by a few $100 million. It's embarrassing, right? One of the best investors, value investors in the world, was defrauded to the tune of almost, I think, $300 million, allegedly. But what that tells you is, I doubt that's the only time he's been defrauded. I doubt that's the only time his business had a financial shock. In fact, the company Berkshire Hathaway was a textile mill that failed. He invested in a textile business. That first business that carries the name that we all know so well was a textile company that failed. But he was able to turn it around. And today, Berkshire Hathaway is not known for textiles. They're known for a slew. In fact, I think the largest part of their business is insurance. At least it's a major part of it. Nothing to do with textiles or clothes, nothing. But it was a textile business that failed. He came into it with some partners. He thought he could turn it around. He thought it had a good value valuation. Turned out he was wrong. Could not be saved. That textile aspect. But I'm sure if he sat down to say, I'm going to write a book of all the times I failed, all the times I invested, believing I would get value and I didn't get value, he would have epistles to write. But somehow he and his team and his company didn't lose their confidence. And that's what's going to get you out of this place where you are. Now, a word of caution. There's some things you really need to avoid if you're going to make it out. And that is developing unhealthy coping methods. All the things I've mentioned are normal. It's normal to feel sad. It's normal to feel embarrassed. It's normal to withdraw. And you can do all these things for a while. Journal, write about them. And then have the faith to believe that, look, it happens to everybody. Everyone feels this way, even if they're pretending they don't to some degree. And have the confidence to know that you learn from your mistakes. But there's certain mistakes that can permanently or potentially long-term derail you. And these are unhealthy coping methods. A few examples of these are drinking in excess, the use of prescription medication. I mentioned Ambien earlier in the talk. You really want to be very careful about prescription medications that you take, not to take them in excess in a way to soothe and find peace. Chemical peace never lasts, and it always causes more problems than it seeks to fix. The use of illegal drugs. You say weed is free, is legal in a lot of parts of the world now, and I know that's translated here in terms of permissiveness in Nigeria. Really be careful about checking out from your problems, because they're going to be waiting for you when you come down from that high. And sometimes things have progressed to be even worse because you weren't present. Gambling. I lost it. Let me see if I can make it back really quick. Don't do it. It's just worsening your situation. You've lost 1 million. You go and say, let me gamble another 1 million. I'll make back what I lost plus more. You may end up losing 3 million and worsening your situation. Using food as a crutch. I know that we're Nigerians, we're jolly people, we like food, we like good times. But be careful, because with overeating, it can lead to diabetes, it can worsen heart conditions, it can worsen your cholesterol, it can infect so many things. Because usually when we overeat, we don't overeat carrots and cucumbers. It's the really bad stuff that we overeat. So I just want us to be careful with that. Also watch out for self-harming behaviors. Twisting and pulling out your hair. Twisting and pinching yourself, your skin. Am I awake? And you're bleeding. Doing certain things to your body to the point that you are inflicting injury upon yourself. Be very careful about those things. If you notice you're developing those things, I want to advise you to seek help. Finally, one of the biggest things that happen, especially when you've had a financial shock that's going to have implications on others. So you're running a business because you've expected, let me take example of a shipment. You've invested in cashew and you've paid, cashew is coming. You have other off-takers or vendors who depend on you to pay them for money you've already borrowed, like the banks. You've borrowed this money, you've remitted it to the third party, you're expecting it disappears. And now you have to repay the bank. And maybe the property that you use in the bank is your father's property or your brother's property or your child's assets that you said, I just want to use this as collateral. Nothing will go wrong. And now everything has gone wrong. And if you're a good person, which I suspect that you are, the guilt you feel, the degree of pain for having failed so many people who rely on you can cause you to begin to think it will be better if you're not here anymore. If all of this could just end, it will be better. Please, if you get to this point, you're beginning to get to the brink of suicide ideation, thinking about it, what would be the best way to do it so it will be tidy for everybody. Seek help. A lot of churches have good counseling groups now and departments where at least they can provide emergency mental care. There's no shame in it. What is shameful is if you don't make it. But there's no shame in asking for help if you're getting to the brink of doing something that could hurt you and ultimately hurt your family. Because you can never be better for your family if you're not there. Reach out and get help. Nobody has to know except for those who are involved. You think it's written on your forehead, nobody knows. But you know what I always say, even if they know, what is most important is that I am alive. Once I'm alive and I'm okay, if someone gets to know that I had to go to the hospital for treatment, so what? Get the help that you need. The most important thing is that you are okay. Don't care about what other people think at that stage, because I can assure you, if you're a woman, there's so many of us now in our 40s who are passing away from stress, from illnesses, from neglecting ourselves, from carrying so much weight. If you pass away tomorrow, you have a handsome husband, even if he's not handsome. Let us just count. And he loves you very, 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 very much. He will do 6 months. His family will say, yeah, he's a wonderful fellow. He really loved her. He really loved Ijoma. Oh, wow. He does 1 year. They'll be like, oh, he's a saint. He really mourned Ijoma. Let it pass 1 year. They will call him, Biko, come. It's enough, you don't do. You see those children that Ijoma left behind? They need a mother. They need a mother. You need to marry someone else. It's not good for the children and you too. That is what will happen. That is if he's a very good guy that loved you a lot. Some 6 months. Some, your body is not even cold. Someone has already moved into the house to assist you with the duties you have left behind and to reap all the benefits of all the work you've done. Men, it's not different for you. Gone are the days that a woman is a widow and she will cry and gnash her teeth. Especially these young, good-looking, sexy widows now. No, she will package herself very well. How many children did she have for you? 4, no problem. She has a mother. She will drop them there. Package herself nicely. Marriage is not everything now for women. It's not. Sadly, it's not. I don't know if it's sad or if it's good. I don't bear judgment. But it's not everything. If she's pretty, she's good looking, she has a nice body, she will put herself together. She'll become kept. Someone will take care of her. And life will go on without you. So the most important thing, if you want to be there for your family, if you really want to make an impact, is for you to live. I'm sorry that you've had to go through a financial shock. If I say I haven't gone through many of my own, I have. But one thing I've learned is that the most important thing is for you to be alive. It's for you to find joy. So, till next time, when we get to speak again, I want to encourage you to please take care of yourself and to make sure if you need help that you get it. You are not alone. Bye for now.